Spring 219 BC. Outside Saguntum, a wealthy Iberian city perched near the Spanish coast, the air smells like salt, vineyard dust, and the coming mistake of the century. A Saguntine watchman squints from the wall as a Carthaginian camp blooms across the plain tents, pickets, horses, engineers, and a ridiculous amount of confidence. You know that feeling when your neighbor parks in your driveway and then starts building a shed? It's like that, except the neighbor is Hannibal Barca, and the shed is a siege ramp, and everyone has swords. Now, here's the spicy legal mess. Years earlier, Rome and Carthage had agreed, depending on who you ask and how hard you squint at the fine print, that Carthage wouldn't expand north past the Ebro River. Saguntum is south of that river, but Saguntum had been flirting with Rome like it was joining the Mediterranean's cool kids club. Carthage sees this and goes, "Oh, so that's the game." Hannibal doesn't even pretend this is about diplomacy. He claims Saguntum has been bullying local tribes friendly to Carthage, specifically the neighbors who conveniently become victims right when Hannibal needs a pretext. And look, Hannibal is young, hungry, and carrying the family brand. His dad, Hamilcar Barca, didn't bleed for Iberia, so Rome could waltz in and start collecting friends. Hannibal's logic is simple. If Rome can plant influence wherever it wants, then treaties are just decorative paper like a senator's spine. So the first rocks fly, the first fires catch, the first terrified civilians realize diplomacy is not a shield, it's a bedtime story adults tell themselves. Hannibal orders the siege works forward, and in the Roman Senate far away, in their marble echo chamber, someone is about to learn that ignoring a crisis doesn't make it go away. It just gives it time to sharpen its teeth. The siege doesn't start with heroic trumpets. It starts with math. Hannibal looks at Saguntum's walls the way a contractor looks at a load-bearing wall during a renovation. Challenge accepted. He orders timber cut, earth hauled, and siege engines assembled rams, towers, ladders, and those delightful catapults that turn gravity into a hate letter. Inside Saguntum, the mood is, this is fine, but in the flaming dog meme way. They have strong walls, steep approaches, and the spiritual comfort of believing Rome will definitely, absolutely, any minute now, show up. Spoiler, Rome is a senate. The senate doesn't show up. The senate debates. Saguntum sends frantic messengers to Rome, dusty, bleeding, half-starved from running through hostile territory, basically screaming, "Hey, remember us, your friends? The people you winked at politically? Yeah, we're currently being turned into a historical example." Meanwhile, on the wall, Saguntine defenders fight like people who understand the alternative is slavery or death. They launch stones, pitch, and whatever else they can throw that won't also hurt their own morale. Hannibal pushes hard not just to win, but to win fast. The longer this drags on, the more likely Rome does something inconvenient, like remember it has legions. He keeps pressure constant, rotating troops, rewarding aggression, punishing hesitation. And then, in the chaos of a wall assault, Hannibal gets hurt, not a mythic scratch, a real wound, the kind that makes your men stare like, did the main character just take damage? For a moment, the siege falters. Saguntum breathes. Hope rises. Then Hannibal recovers and doubles down. Because if there's one thing Hannibal hates more than Rome, it's the idea that a walled city might think it can embarrass him. By now, Saguntum is living in the ancient version of a disaster movie where the hero keeps calling the authorities and the authorities keep saying, "Have you tried not being attacked?" The messengers reach Rome again and again, bringing updates that get worse each time. The Senate is angry. Roman pride is a fragile ceramic vase, but Rome is also cautious, and politics is a swamp where urgency goes to drown. Some senators want action. If we let Hannibal take a Roman friend, every ally in Italy will start pricing out new management. Others argue procedure. Saguntum is south of the Ebro. We don't have a treaty violation. We have a vibes violation. So they send envoys, not an army, not relief, not supplies, envoys. Diplomats, men with stern eyebrows and the confidence of people who've never had rocks thrown at them from a battlement. They go to Hannibal to deliver Rome's official posture. Stop that. Hannibal receives them like a man who has already made his decision and is now politely letting you hear yourself talk. He replies, "Saguntum started it. Convenient, simple, and morally elegant as a brick. Inside Saguntum, theater becomes tragedy. Breaches grow. Houses collapse. Fires spread where defenders can't spare men to put them out. Every night is a choice between guarding a wall section and saving your own family. Rome does not march. Hannibal senses it. He's not just taking a city, he's measuring Roman speed. The answer, so far, is eventually. It happens the way disasters usually do. Not with one dramatic crack, but with 100 small failures stacking into a single moment. One section of wall, pounded day after day, finally gives. Defenders rush to plug the gap with beams and rubble. On the other side, Carthaginian troops surge forward like water, finding a lower place. Saguntum becomes two wars at once, the wall and the streets. And street fighting is where courage goes to get ugly. No formations, no elegance, just smoke, screams, and men realizing shields don't cover their backs. Hannibal doesn't sulk when tactics fail. He iterates. He widens the breach, hits multiple points, keeps the defenders running until their bravery becomes a resource to be spent. Hunger joins the battle. Stores are burned or captured. People ration, then stop rationing because there's nothing left to divide. Rumors spread. Rome isn't coming. Then comes the darkest council meeting in the city's history. Not to plan victory, but to decide what surrender would cost and whether death is the last form of freedom. The city cracks from inside and outside. Night falls over Saguntum like a lid. The leaders meet. The debate isn't how do we win, it's how do we lose. Surrender means chains and the sale of your life in pieces. Fighting to the last man still likely ends with your family captured. So some choose a colder option, deny the enemy the prize. Ancient writers describe people piling valuables together, burning them, smashing what can't be carried, turning their wealth into smoke rather than letting it become Hannibal's trophy. Some accounts also describe citizens choosing death rather than slavery. The satire drops low here, because desperation doesn't need a punchline. Then the final assaults break through. Carthaginian soldiers spill into streets already choking on smoke. Discipline frays. Looting begins before fighting is fully finished, because loot is the ancient soldier's retirement plan. The last defenders strike from doorways and rubble piles, but time is gone. The city buckles under pressure that never stopped. Saguntum falls messy, burning, and unforgettable. And Hannibal learns the most important lesson of his career. Rome didn't save its friend, which means Rome is either weak or it's about to be furious. Dawn after the fall. Saguntum is now a smoking arrangement of ruins. Plunder follows, survivors are rounded up, treasure is collected. Hannibal doesn't just take money, he takes narrative. A Roman friend was destroyed while Rome watched. That story travels faster than any army, and it dents Rome's credibility across Iberia. Rome finally wakes up the way only insult can wake it. Senators who had treated this like a distant annoyance now react like Hannibal spat on the Republic in public. So Rome sends envoys to Carthage and demands the impossible. Hand over Hannibal, pay reparations, admit wrongdoing. Carthage debates because Carthage is a city of factions. Barcid pride versus merchant caution. Legal arguments fly. Saguntum is south of the Ebro. Rome meddled first. In the end, Carthage refuses to surrender Hannibal. Call it war by decision or war by refusal, the result is the same. Saguntum stops being a single city tragedy and becomes the opening gunshot of a conflict that will eat the Western Mediterranean. Hannibal has lit the fuse. War is official now, and Rome speaks the language it loves. Honor, punishment, inevitability. Rome's plan looks clean. Hit Carthage and Spain, cut Hannibal off, and threaten Africa. It's a solid Roman plan, structured, confident, and built on the assumption the enemy will cooperate by losing. Hannibal refuses to play Rome's game. He understands that to beat Rome, you don't fight it where it's comfortable, you drag it into chaos. Down in Iberia, he reorganizes, secures garrisons, tightens alliances, gathers supplies, not to defend Spain forever, but to extract what he needs from it: soldiers, money, horses, and momentum. He's thinking about Italy already, about Rome's allies, Rome's network, Rome's sense of security. If he can crack that, Rome becomes an empty shell with gorgeous architecture. While Rome prepares to fight near Spain, Hannibal prepares to bring war to Rome's front door. Rome assumes Italy is safe the way people assume the roof won't fall in. Hannibal intends to be the roof. He stabilizes Iberia to keep his rear from collapsing. Then he sells the march to his men: loot, glory, revenge, and fame that survives your bones. He projects certainty because people will follow you into hell if you look like you already booked the return trip. Rome hears rumors. Hannibal is moving, recruiting, doing something. But Romans imagine ships, not mountains. Marching into Italy over the Alps sounds like invading by climbing the chimney, and yet Hannibal builds the living machine. Scouts, cavalry screens, engineers, baggage, diplomacy with Gallic tribes, bribes where possible, violence where necessary. Saguntum was the warning shot. Rome ignored it. Now Hannibal is turning the entire map into a battlefield. Late 219 BC, sliding into 218 BC, Iberian mornings turn sharp with cold, and Hannibal's camp feels less like a base and more like a launch. He's done the boring genius work: supplies, rope, tools, pack animals, unit reshuffles, commanders left behind who won't instantly betray him. His army moves infantry blocks, cavalry fanning out, scouts ahead, engineers behind, mercenaries arguing in 10 languages about whether this is paid suffering or just suffering. The first major test is passage. Tribes and settlements watching a massive army approach and wondering if this is a parade or an extinction event. Some negotiate, some resist. Hannibal rewards cooperation and crushes obstruction, because speed matters more than politeness now. Back in Rome, the war machine rolls, levies, fleets, consuls, confidence returns, and then reports arrive. Hannibal isn't just active in Spain, he's moving northward, inland, away from the sea. Rome stares at the map as if it's malfunctioning. Saguntum, in the end, isn't just where the war started. It's the proof that Rome reacts late and that Hannibal can choose the tempo. Saguntum was the match. Now Hannibal carries the fire toward Italy,